God, this place is a disaster. I haven't recorded in like 7 months. Well, luckily I think I have a way to fix that. Yeah, let's just go ahead and... Oh, no. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Draven Who Games. Yes, I know it has been a while since we've uploaded a real video on the channel here, but we're back and better than ever with our new series, Who Reviews, where we'll be reviewing tons of new and old releases, primarily focusing on Nintendo Switch and PC games, which is what this channel is all about. So yeah, our first ever Who Reviews, unless you're counting the joke one that I uploaded about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Check that out if you haven't seen it already. Link is in the description. I'll put it down there. But our first real review will be Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Switch. This is the game that inspired this series of videos because I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I really like this game. But I'll get into specifics later on. But it's such a good game, so I had to review it, and I feel like it's not, as well loved as most other Nintendo titles, like Mario, Super Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker just kind of gets buried, and since it is a Wii U port, people tend to not pay as much attention to those, but this one is truly really good. And also, it is not $60, it is $40, so... Okay, so first, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. If you remember the retro review series of videos, then you'll basically know how these reviews go. We will have different sections that I will talk about, the game and stuff, and these are plot, audio, visuals, and gameplay, not necessarily in that order, and then finally... finale where I will wrap up and tell you guys a score of burn it, meh, or loved it. So yeah, I know it's a very, very great way of scoring things. But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get into our first section, which will be plot. So let's go ahead and roll that animation. Alright, so plot. Now, don't expect a novel. This is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker we're talking about. It's your stereotypical, pretty, for the most part, Mario story. Spoilers, I guess, but not really, because, it's a very predictable plot. But, you don't play these games for the plot. Most people don't, most normal people don't play them for the plot. But we're still going to put this in the video, because it's an integral part of the game. So, you begin your adventure, tracking treasure with Toadette and Captain Toad. Big bird thing, not sure what the name is. I've heard it before, I forget it, and yeah, we'll get into that here later on in the plot story thing. Yeah, Toadette is trying to get the star. Big bird swoops in, tries to grab the star. Toadette's holding on to it, and Captain Toad, being the silly little goofball that he is here, he's tracked too much treasure. He can't jump because his backpack is so full. He just can't jump. So he can't jump to save Toadette, and Toadette is captured. Egad! I know you've never heard that before. You never heard that one before, have you now? Never heard that one before. But anyway, so then you continue on your journey. I'll get into that in gameplay, obviously. So yeah, you continue on your journey. There are little story segments scattered throughout. And these are just nice to remind you, hey, there's a story to this game. But yeah, so you get these little things sprinkled in. Captain Toad will go to like a log and he'll sit there, and then a bird flies past. I gotta go get Toadette. That's about it. And then at the end of the stage, you will fight Big Bad Boss by throwing big bad turnips at it and knocking it out of the sky. So that saves Toadette. The credits roll, and you're like, whoa, did the game just end? Now, I've seen this happen before. Kirby Star Allies did the exact same thing, so obviously it's not over. But yeah, so then you start out on Chapter 2, called Captain Toad Treasure Tracker 2. So there goes your sequel title, Nintendo. You've already blown it on one game. But, so yeah, you move on to the next one. It starts out exactly the same. I'm like, is this the same game? Whatever. But this time, get this. Toad. Captain Toad. He is the one stolen this time, and Toadette, again, cannot jump to save him. So, whoa, big switcheroo there. And basically, it's the exact same thing again. Again, Toadette goes and sits on a thing, sees Bird, goes after Toad, goes to Big Boss fight, fights Big Boss. Toad is saved. Hooray! But the third chapter is where we really start spicing things up a little bit. You see, in the third chapter, I believe they both get separated somehow. They just fall out of the sky into different areas. So Captain Toad, goes out on a little treasure hunt and finding treasure, and of course trying to look for Toadette. Toadette, you later catch up on halfway through the pages. Chapter 3, by the way, is the largest chapter of them all. And so then you have Toadette, and then it just kind of sprinkles some Toadettes and Captain Toad levels. There's really no difference, except one is Toadette, one is Captain Toad. There is literally absolutely no gameplay difference between these two. It's just one's Captain Toad, one's Captain Toadette. So, but yeah, you'll just keep alternating between those two until finally you get to the last chapter where Toadette has been captured again. Captain Toad's got to go on this final boss battle. And, you work your way through the boss battle, knock out boss by throwing big turnips at it, and you get a pretty lackluster boss battle. Pretty lackluster ending there. I'm not gonna lie, it's just the same thing as the first boss battle, just there's more to get to that point. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the game ends. You get the real end credits this time of them going on a coaster through all the worlds that they've been through and stuff, and then finally you end it with them, like they land all of a sudden and they see this is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, as it says here, featuring new content based on Super Mario Odyssey. So the Odyssey flies by in the end, and whoa, Toad just jumps out and abandons Toadette, and like, wow, that's absolutely terrible. But yeah, he just runs out, and he's in the Sand Kingdom now. So that's where the Mario Odyssey DLC comes into play. I'll get more into this stuff in gameplay, because there's another way to get the Odyssey DLC stuff. Not DLC, just bonus levels. And also, at the end of the game, you will unlock other bonus levels as well. I have not tried those. I've just beaten the game like a few minutes before this recording. But, yeah. So, yeah, overall, it's a pretty basic plot, but you guys know the drill. It's a Mario Universe game. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Mario Universe. I'm not sure if this is included in that or not, but let's hope it is not, for good reason. But yeah, so I guess with that, let's go ahead and get into gameplay. Alright, so gameplay. The most important part of a game, obviously, is how it plays. Hence the name gameplay. Yeah. So gameplay is actually really cool. It is sort of, genre is, I guess it'd be a puzzle platformer? Yeah, puzzle platformer. Let's go with that. I believe that's actually what its thing is. And, but what's cool is that since there's the puzzle element of the platformer, which is, again, like mentioned in the plot section, Captain Toad cannot jump, which means that you have to traverse these levels without jumping, which can be confusing at some points. You're like, oh, nope, never mind. But that only really tricks you up for, like, the first level, and then you're done. You kind of get it from there. But basically, the whole thing with each of these levels is that it's based on a Japanese garden. We'll get more into that in visuals and stuff. But basically, you continue to circle around these box gardens, and that will uncover new sections. It's kind of like the game Fez, if you guys have ever played that. How it messes with 3D and stuff. and it works sort of similar to that. You can rotate the levels, you can zoom in and stuff, and that will unlock different, not unlock areas, but you'll be able to see new areas and go into them, and see new enemies so you can attack them or whatever, and which is really cool. I mean, and that's how you get in the main collectibles. You have to search for them, and you have to treasure track, which, is in the title. So to get those diamonds, again, that's a big element of the game. There's 3 diamonds hidden in each level, and you have to find them. Well, you don't have to, but if you want to be a completionist, you gotta get 3 diamonds. But overall, the goal at the end of the level is to get to the star at the end. That's the whole point of every level. And that will progress you on through the storybook, like, pages. Go through pages and you zip in. There's no real congruity. There's no like overarching way of getting to things. It's just a page in a book. There's no overworld map. There's no connected worlds. There's really nothing linking these worlds together. You can be in a sand world one moment, and then in a haunted mansion the next time, and then in a world of water the next time. I mean, it doesn't. There's no like flow there. It's just kind of scattered. But that's okay. I'm not again. It doesn't really matter in this sort of game. I mean, it would kind of have been nice, but you'd have your desert section. But it does vary things up, and that is cool to see. All that. And that also brings up a good point. Is when I was mentioning earlier, fighting off enemies. There is a way of fighting off enemies in this game. There are multiple ways. So, for instance, to defeat spikes, you can wait for their ball to they have a big spiky ball, so they throw it. It'll land on a platform, and then it'll launch you up, and you can bop on their head. Shy guys, you can also fall off an edge and bop them on the head. Works with any enemy basically. And then there's also, but most other enemies, if you cannot do that, you usually can pick up a turnip somewhere and throw them at them. So that's, pretty standard. That's usually how you defeat an enemy. And then there's also boos, mud monsters, some other sort of ghosts. I'm not good with a lot of, I just know the basic Mario stuff. But you shine your light. I thought this was really cool. You can shine your light on the boo or whatever, and they'll dissipate into dust. Which, that's a pretty neat way of defeating enemies. You can also turn your headlamp off and stuff, so that you're a little less easy to detect. And, that's pretty neat. I never found any reason to really turn off my headlamp. The game isn't challenging enough to do, to warrant that. But, yeah, I mean, it's neat how you defeat some of the enemies. Again, there are boss battles here and there. It's usually bop the dragon on, go through the level, bop the dragon on the head. Or, final boss, throw turnips at it. I mean, yeah, again, I mentioned that in plot. It's just kind of the same. But you're not here for combat. And there are some other ways of defeating enemies, such as, some enemies you can pick up and throw them at other enemies and stuff, but beyond that, you're not playing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for combat. You're playing it for the awesome puzzles and to track treasure. And it does a very good job with that. There's tons of coins, secret, golden mushrooms, and, of course, the diamonds and the stars. And, there's just collectibles all over the place, and it is really fun to find them. I was able to wholly complete a lot of the first levels. And then it starts to get a lot more difficult to fully complete the levels. And then there's also always an extra objective that'll pop up after you defeat the level, so you'll see if you got it or not. And there's no way of going into the level knowing. But it just adds some extra replay value to it. And those are always pretty, cool to be able to go back to them. Although towards the end it gets kind of boring. Every one of them is find the hidden golden mushroom. Woo. But yeah, so, it's just, that's kind of how it starts to taper off. But again, that's not the main part of the game. That's just an additional little bonus thing. And then also, speaking of little bonus things, the Wii U version used to require you to have the Toad amiibo. Thanks to any of you in the Discord, thanks to Hazy Hexium, you know him, in the Discord server, which you can check that out. Link in the description below as well to that Discord server. where you can get all sorts of updates. A little plug there, a little plug. But again, thanks to Hazy Hexium for giving me this awesome Toad amiibo. He's pretty cool. But you'd be able to scan him in the Wii U version, and it would give you the Pixel Toad level. Like on every level, you get a Pixel Toad, and that's an extra little thing to do. On the Nintendo Switch version, that's already built in, so you don't need the Toad amiibo for that. Instead, this guy is now used to get you an invincibility mushroom. I have a problem with invincibility mushrooms, although they are helpful sometimes. But we'll, again, I'll talk more about. I guess I can talk about that right now. But yeah, so invincibility mushrooms. After you fail so many times, and I mean, I believe you have to even fully die once. Which, you know, when you fully die, you get to go into this weird limbo zone, and it gets rid of all your progress, like diamonds and stuff in the levels. You go into this limbo zone, and I'm sure there'll be footage up here on the screen. And you go through, and you have a pickaxe power-up, and you just go around in circles, or you don't have to go in circles, but it just digs up a bunch of plants, gives you a bunch of one-ups. That's how you replenish your life, and I mean, it's neat. I mean, kind of gets tiring after a while having to keep doing that every single time you fully die. Which does, at least in my case, happen a lot, just because most of the time not paying attention. Whoops, I slipped off the edge of the world and died. That's most of my deaths. The game can be difficult. I'm just going to say that now. And, again, because of that difficulty, they give you the invincibility mushroom, which allows you to plow through enemies, which kind of makes things too easy sometimes. But also, it doesn't really take away from the problem of me falling off ledges a lot. So, I mean, it didn't impact me that much. But, like, I'll show a clip here. I'll show you a clip here as I talk about it. I remember at one instance, there's this huge boo on this level. Huge, absolutely giant boo. And, I had the invincibility mushroom. He just walked right into me and died. So that was very anticlimactic. I was like, oh, wow. This is, like, in-game. And got the invincibility mushroom because I died a couple times. And then bop, he's gone. No challenge. With that one, you couldn't even fall off. There's just poison everywhere, so, like, poison would rise. I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have used the invincibility mushroom. I mean, it is an option. You go into the level, and it'll be placed right there, usually at the start, and you can pull it up and use it. Or, again, you can tap the Toad amiibo, and it does the exact same thing. Yeah, just, I don't know. If you want something more challenging, don't use the invincibility mushroom, because it does take a lot of the challenge out of it. And, I mean, I think the game would have been fine without it, but it is a way of easing new players into the game, and it was helpful at times. Okay, another element of the gameplay is multiplayer. Don't buy it for multiplayer. I mean, buy the game. Don't buy it for multiplayer. Multiplayer, I played some with, again, Hazy Hexium, the guy who gave me this. I won't refer to his real name on this show. You know, privacy reasons. But yeah, I played some with him. I'll put some footage up on the screen here. I played some of the, you know, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker multiplayer. It's rough. Basically, the main player, the player one, plays with one split Joy-Con. You have to use split Joy-Con. There's no other way of doing this. So you get, like, first player gets left Joy-Con, and you're the one that controls Captain Toad, and you go around and you treasure track. The second player has, which is very convoluted, has access over the camera, so you have to trust them to turn everything, and then also they can fling the right Joy-Con, flick it, and a red turnip shows up on the screen, and they can just defeat all the enemies for you. So it's kind of like the invincibility mushroom, sorry. In that, you know, it just kind of makes things easy, and also it makes things very confusing because they control the camera for some reason. I mean, it's not very fun multiplayer, so don't buy the game. Don't buy the Switch version just because it has multiplayer, because it sucks. I mean, it might be fun for like 5 seconds, and then you'll be like, this is boring. I should also mention, while we're in gameplay, the controls of the game, because it's part of gameplay. Again, you can use it in all sorts of modes. You can use Pro Controller, split Joy-Cons like in multiplayer, or just normal split Joy-Cons. Or, you can, table. All the versions of the Switch work. I did not play it on the TV that much. I primarily played in handheld. The TV controls are kind of confusing. I mean, you have to use motion controls to turn it and stuff. It was still a little too complicated for me. So I'd say if you're buying this, probably you're gonna play it in handheld mode most of the time, unless you're playing the crappy multiplayer. I mean, at least I did. Some people might like the TV controls. I'm just not a huge fan of this game. I like to have the touch screen so you can really, move it however you want. And it's just with the cursor on screen, it's sort of weird. Also, while you're at it, you can use the Mario wedding, any of the wedding figures actually, any of the wedding Mario Odyssey figures. You can tap them on there, and that unlocks the Mario Odyssey levels instantly. So you can use that if you really want to get to the Mario Odyssey goodness. You can tap one of these. I mean, I found it for $12.99 at GameStop. It wasn't really that expensive, and it is a very nice figure for any of you Nintendo fans. So, yeah. I guess with that, that's the end of the gameplay section. So, let's go on over to visuals. Alright, so visuals. I'm also going to combine with visuals the game, design, the level design. Okay, so this will be visuals and level design, because just gameplay, I didn't want to get too packed with level design. And visuals isn't that big. So visually, it looks really good running on the Switch. It looks a little bit more crisp compared to the Wii U version. I mean, I never played the Wii U version, but I can just assume it looks about the same. I've seen gameplay of it on YouTube. So. Switch version looks slightly better. Wouldn't buy it just because you want a graphical upgrade, though, because it's not that much of a difference. There is a big difference compared to the 3DS version, which it's a miracle that thing even runs on that system. It's a miracle that 3DS even is still running at all. So, but yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks like a 3D Mario game, and it looks fine. But let's get into that level design. Oof, it goes so well with the gameplay elements in this game. Everything just flows so well. These box garden worlds can be huge sometimes in scale for how actually cubic and small that they are. I mean, they've done a great job of designing these levels, and I mean, it shows. Another type of level besides the standard levels are the on-rail shooting levels, where you're in a little minecart, you go around, you shoot stuff, and that's about the end of that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into audio. Alright, the audio. There's not much to say about this. It has a great soundtrack. I mean, each of the worlds has a cool little theme to it. I mean, it's nothing hugely memorable, except, oh wait, the main theme. Oh yes, the main theme, you heard it there, folks. It's so empowering. That's a dumb way of putting it. But yes, I mean, it is a really cool theme, It's like, oh crap, boys. Captain Toad is coming your way. He's coming to track some treasure. So, I mean, that's what screams at you. It's a very strong tune. That's the best music track in the game, man. I can just blare that crap at the top of the Switch and just rock out as my game starts. I mean, that's a freaking great way to start a game. Yeah, I mean, it's just great. But besides that, the audio isn't really that memorable. Just that main theme is just good job. Alright, so with that, I guess this leads us to the finale. Ooh. Alright, so let's get to the grand finale, where I will give my final thoughts on the game and tell you if you should buy it. And yes, I'll just get this out of the way now. You should buy it. Buy it. Just go out and buy it right now. I think it is the perfect price. If you were paying any less, you'd be ripping Nintendo off. I mean, $40 for this game is very great. That's a perfect price for it. I don't think it should go any lower. Maybe I wouldn't raise the price because I like cheap things. But $50, I would see myself paying that. But $40 is a perfect price tag for this package. Alliteration there. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really solid deal for this game. I mean, I loved it. It was so refreshing to see a game like this. I mean, the Switch has been full of great games, but, after Donkey Kong Country and Kirby Star Allies and all these 2D platformers, and Mario Odyssey and stuff. All the open worlds and platformers on the Switch and stuff. All the stuff I've been playing. It was so nice to see this game, come to the Switch. I mean, it's very refreshing. It feels like an indie game, but with the charm that only Nintendo can bring to it. I mean, it is truly something awesome, and it is probably one of my favorite Nintendo games to date. And, one of my favorite Switch games, obviously, as well. If you have a Switch, you should definitely try this game out. Now, if you had the Wii U version, I don't know. That's up to you. If there's enough here, if you really want Mario Odyssey levels and stuff, cool. But the 3D World, Mario 3D World, like, extra bonus stages are gone from this, which is kind of sad. But, if you already owned it on Wii U, there's probably not a reason to get it again on the Switch, except portability, which is awesome. But, yeah, if you didn't play it on the Wii U, this is a must-buy, at least for me. And, yeah, I guess that's about it. So, I really loved this game. I've said that about 1,000,000 times now. It's absolutely great. But yeah, so I guess with that, thank you all for watching. I will see you on the next video. Remember to like and subscribe to Draven Who Games for more awesome content, and to check us out on Discord in the link below, and where we're actually doing a giveaway of Cook Serve Delicious 2, so check that out. And I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.